The all draft and develop plan was great last year, but this year, the Green Bay Packers are true NFC contenders, and they need a veteran quarterback to back up Jordan Love ASAP.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts, you'll find Locked On Packers, the #1 Packers podcast on the internet, and the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at LinkedIn Jobs. They help you find qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job. LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL. That's right. I said it right. I did it right. I've done this before. Terms and conditions apply. Why did I get so angry? The Packers, it's Friday. We're loosey-goosey, little slap happy after the first week of training camp, I guess. The Green Bay Packers, though, speaking of slap happy, Sean Clifford is getting slapped around by this Packers defense. And it was all well and good last year to have the plan be Sean Clifford and Jordan Love. Plus, you're still seeing what Jordan Love was. Bringing in a veteran could potentially muddy those waters, and that was the last thing that you wanted to do. You wanted to imbue Jordan Love with as much institutional confidence as possible. Hey, we believe in you from the top down. Everyone, everywhere in this organization believes you are the quarterback. And bringing in a veteran is potentially antithetical to that idea. So just to have Sean Clifford around because you're going to develop him, you want him to be the backup of the future, that was cool. And it was a good idea, honestly. Like, I don't have any problems with it as an idea. But this year is different. And you might actually need that backup quarterback to help you win a game. And if that's the case, you're going to be in big trouble. Now, and this is not just from, a day or two of training camp, though certainly that has not helped. Sean Clifford has not covered himself in glory through the first couple days of camp. The Packers are going to get this Jordan Love contract worked out. We're getting closer. We're not even going to really talk about it today. But now Jordan Love is secure. He's going to get his money. It's going to be a huge dollar figure. And he is going to be secure enough that if you bring in a veteran, there's not going to be any wonder about who the main guy is. And at this point, I don't think that there should be any of that anyway. But there are opportunities out there, players out there who can help you right now. And at the top of the list is Ryan Tannehill, because he is a free agent. You don't have to give up anything to go get Ryan Tannehill. And Ryan Tannehill, though he did not overlap with Matt LaFleur in Tennessee, as soon as Matt LaFleur leaves, then Ryan Tannehill shows up in Tennessee, and you have Arthur Smith, who runs essentially the Matt LaFleur offense. Matt LaFleur had to deal with, Blaine Gabbert and Marcus Mariota that last year in Tennessee, but he comes in and has his best year ever, was the comeback player of the year. Now that was 2019. That was a long time ago. And last year for the Titans, he wasn't particularly good. 4 touchdowns and 7 interceptions before he gets benched for Will Levis. But they did go 3-5 in those games. And that team, let's be honest, just not very talented. We saw in 2022, so this is not that long ago. Ryan Tannehill's still only 35. This is his age 36 season. He lit up the Packers. Now, Is that the hardest thing to do with Joe Barry? Like maybe we should be grading on a curve here, but he is the kind of quarterback who, if you need not just one game, if you need one game, maybe Sean Clifford comes in and you just try and ham and egg it, and you figure out, okay, there's enough calls in here. You got Josh Jacobs. You hope the defense can take that step, and you can just win one game. You can hold the fort for a game. And even if you don't, one game is whatever. But let's say it's a month. Or let's say Jordan Love, God forbid, sprains his ankle. High ankle sprain. And rather than fight through it and make it worse, or make it a risk for some other injury, you have a quarterback who you can say, look, take a week, take 2 weeks, get healthy enough to play without pain, without risk of injury, and we'll just put this guy in for now. He can run the offense, get the ball to all these playmakers. This is an offense built around getting everyone involved, making life easy on the quarterback. And is he going to make the virtuoso plays that Jordan Love is? No, but that's why he's a backup quarterback. And that's why it's, almost August and he's unsigned. Now, there are still some players out there who are still unsigned. I'm like, why is that? We're actually going to talk about one of them at the end of the show. But it's just different this year. The urgency is different. Now, there are some other guys, like Brian Hoyer doesn't move the needle for me. Now, Blaine Gabbert is an interesting name because Blaine Gabbert was in Tennessee when Matt LaFleur was in Tennessee. Is that a selling point for me? No, but they did go 2-1 in games quarterbacked by Blaine Gabbert. Do I think that was because of Blaine Gabbert? No, he threw 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, had a passer rating of 74.9 in those games. But again, we're talking about backup quarterbacks. Like, this is not the cream of the crop. Now you look around the NFL, are there other quarterbacks in other situations where you may get a chance to snag a player, swing a trade? Potentially. Like if you think about what's going on in Carolina, what about someone like Andy Dalton? There's no schematic advantage because there's not really a lot of overlap in what he has done. Dallas Cowboys for Mike McCarthy, the Bears system. That was when Bears fans really still thought that Justin Fields could be something. But Andy Dalton was actually pretty good in 2022 for the Saints. Like if you go back and look at the numbers, his efficiency, better than the quarterback of the Packers in 2022. I don't know if you remember who that was. I do. Andy Dalton was, at least by production and efficiency, the better player. Interesting, right? And the best the offense looked last year for the Carolina Panthers, when it looked like an actual NFL offense, aside from the one game against Joe Barry, Andy Dalton was the quarterback. Could you get Andy Dalton if let's just say this continues to look rough for Sean Clifford and Michael Pratt? And then, by the way, you get to keep one of them anyway. That's what you have the extra one for. Try and sneak him on the practice squad. But there's just no mistakes now. And I do understand, and I have been in the past the kind of person who likes to evince the old Peyton Manning story. The coach was asked why the backup quarterback doesn't take any reps. And his answer was, well, if Peyton Manning gets hurt, then we're in trouble. He used a different word, one word, and we don't practice. We don't practice in trouble. Let's do that. Let's say it that way. Rhymes with trucked. Okay? I get that. And so that has been my way of saying I don't really care generally, but I will say that in this case, given the people involved, I care a little bit more. Now, the Tim Boyle stuff, That was never like that never made sense. Why he was the backup and not Jordan Love. I thought that was foolish in the moment. I thought that was mismanagement of your resources in the moment. We got this great story from Jory Epstein at Yahoo about how, Jordan Love was just getting overloaded by Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur kind of threw out some of the old things that he thought about quarterbacks and teaching quarterbacks and just said, we're going to give you everything. No, slowly, and nope, just here is everything. So I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth on this. I understand that. But I guess it's different when it's Aaron Rodgers. And it's also different in this offense. In the old offense, even the Matt LaFleur version of the Aaron Rodgers offense, if you didn't have Aaron Rodgers or a really, really good player, you were in big trouble. It just was not even the joke that I just, inserted into that story. You were in trouble. But this version of the offense is not like that. If you just have baseline fine play, you can score on the right defense. And I'm not at all convinced that the Packers have the right quarterback who, if you need 3 or 4 games, not just one, you can get good enough quarterback play out of those guys to hold the fort while you wait for Jordan Love to get healthy. Now, if he's gone for the season, it's over. Like, I'm not worried about that. Then you just give it to Sean Clifford or Michael Pratt or whatever. I'm fine with that. But if you're trying to hold the fort as an NFC contender, you need to have, in this offense, because you have the playmakers and the coach to get this all to work, I think you got to get a veteran right now. All right. I heard and have heard about coaches. Oh, they'll put that player in the right position. They'll play better because of the new coach. Tell me why. And I want to talk about what I think Jeff Hafley can actually fix on this defense. That's next on Locked On Packers. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This was something that came to me as I was listening to people talk about Quay Walker, and I was surprised Deontay Lee, who writes for The Ringer, formerly of Pro Football Focus, formerly of The Athletic, he's a very smart defensive analyst and actual coach. And I was surprised when he had Quay Walker on his preseason all under 25 team. And I mentioned that, and I got a lot of people saying, yes, but the new defensive coordinator. And so this is not going to be a segment where I just criticize Quay Walker. This is not about Quay Walker. But what I thought would be more useful of everyone's time is to talk about what I think can actually be changed. What can a coach, any defensive coach, actually change? So when you say, I want to put players in a better position to succeed, what does that mean? Well, it varies by player. But the very first thing that I think Jeff Hafley can and will bring, and this is true of any coach, especially on the defensive side of the ball, is attitude. We talked about this coming into last year. And I preached it all year long. And then all off season, when we were trying to figure out who the defensive coordinator was going to be. Attitude, philosophy. And philosophy is a reflection of attitude and vice versa. This defense, by all accounts, going back to the spring, flying around, coming downhill, disruptive, creating turnovers. I can't remember 3 consecutive days of training camp that caused so many turnovers. And you can say, well, it was Sean Clifford and Michael Pratt were throwing the ball, but it's usually the case that the backups on offense are playing the starters on defense. That's usually how that goes. It's not all 1 versus 1 in practice. So we would expect plenty of interceptions in those circumstances, and we haven't seen them. Even someone like Eric Stokes, who in his career, going back to Georgia, not a high interception guy, had a day earlier this week with 2. Anthony Johnson Jr., all the safeties. It's just been like your turn, my turn with all the interceptions. Like, hey, you got 1, I'm going to go get 1. Anthony Johnson Jr. can go get 1. Everyone, it's Oprah. You get an interception. You get an interception. You get an interception. Very timely reference from me. So philosophy, attitude is something that can change. And that can, in certain cases from players, make them better. Just the idea of putting someone in the right position is sometimes as simple as putting them in a defense that wants them to attack, that wants them to play a certain style of football. So Devontae Wyatt is a great example. I think he's going to be put in a better position this year because he's going to be asked to get upfield, and that's it. Not literally, but that's going to be the raison d'etre of all of these defensive linemen. Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness. Don't think, just go. Don't think, just go. Don't think, just go. Every snap, every snap. Fire off, go disrupt. And that is beneficial to, I would say, most players because it makes things easy. But it also, guys that are athletic marvels, that are speed to power freaks like Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness, it benefits them. When you're someone like Leatu Latu, the pass rusher from Indianapolis, that was just the first name that came to my mind. He is a technician. He doesn't necessarily need that. Just put him on an island, give him a one-on-one, and he can win that matchup. There are other guys like that around the NFL who are, it's more about technique and they can just go win and that kind of thing. It's different. Now with linebackers, the problem is we've seen, this is not the problem, but we've seen limited instincts in linebackers turn into productive players when they are allowed to just be downfield blitzers. Devin White is a great example. Devin White, year 1 as a rookie, Todd Bowles just unleashes holy hell with him. And it's fire everything, every play, just like go heat-seeking missile, go get the ball. But when he was asked to play in coverage, struggle. When he was asked to move in space, when he was asked to fit the run, those were issues. This is very much where the Packers are with Quay Walker right now, and he is not the level of blitzer that Devin White was. So that's problematic. What is he good at? If you're going to if you're going to put him in a position to succeed, what does that even look like? When you have problems, understanding where you need to be, understanding space, getting off blocks, identifying plays, reading and reacting. Those are things that I just don't think you can fix with scheme. You just need coaching. You need players to play better, but you need your linebacker coach to come in and help in a situation like that. It's a player development thing. It's not a schematic thing. So yeah, coaches can help, but coaches can help develop skills. I don't think coming in and saying, hey, this is the new defense is going to fix everything for someone like Quay Walker. And it's also not going to fix talent deficiencies. So if it turns out that, these safeties are just not as talented as we thought, and they don't look as good against actual NFL quarterbacks as they do against Sean Clifford, there's only going to be so much that Jeff Hafley can do about that. That's just the truth. Now, I think the combination of Javon Bullard and Evan Williams, Bottled and Bond, and Anthony Johnson Jr., that's a really nice group, I think. of just like, hey, just numbers will fix this. Just try and fix your problem with numbers. Throw bodies at the problem. I think that's a good approach, and that has worked for Brian Gutekunst in the past. Do they have that at corner? Do they have enough players? If Eric Stokes gets hurt, what if Carrington Valentine can't get it done? What if Jair Alexander gets hurt? Now, luckily, to this idea of putting guys in the position to succeed, you have a coach that wants to play more man coverage, a bunch more man coverage, loves to press, and you've got Eric Stokes, Jair Alexander, and Carrington Valentine, who are 3 press corners. You talk about putting your guys in a position to succeed. This is the perfect marriage of, hey, these guys are going to be better solely because of the scheme and the attitude. They want to disrupt receivers. They want to play physically. Like the signature game from Jair Alexander over the last 5 years, to me, is the Justin Jefferson game. Now, did he play man coverage one-on-one with Jetta every time, every snap? No, he didn't. Did he have safety help over the top? Yes, he did. But when you are physical at the line of scrimmage, it bothered Justin Jefferson. It disrupted the timing consistently of the plays. I still think the Jair Alexander game I will always remember is the one against Brandon Cooks as a rookie, when he just followed Brandon Cooks all over the field, and it was just like, whoa, this guy is different. I want to see more of that. And I think Jeff Hafley is going to give him an opportunity to do that. Like if there's anyone on this defense where you go, well, the coaches are going to put them in a position to succeed, and you can lay out a very clear plan of what that means and why that is the case, it's the corners. It's the corners, because they are just a perfect fit for what Jeff Hafley wants to be. I don't know if that's true with the linebackers. And that means you got to be concerned about the learning curve with Edgerrin Cooper. Can he come in right away and produce? Tyron Hopper, can he come in right away and produce if need be? This is the problem, because not everything is fixable just because you have a new defensive coordinator. I want to talk about Hunter Renfrow. I'll tell you what I mean next on Locked On Packers. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. Duh. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs is another duh, because they have the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. Why wouldn't you want to use a tool like that? Because it's not just the job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those that aren't actively looking for a new job, but might be perfect for an open role that you have. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional with LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. A couple shows ago, we talked about this idea of, hey, this team is not like those contending teams of Aaron Rodgers' Christmases past. Because this time of year, Packer fans would be salivating over the dregs of free agency to go, just one more guy. Can we just get one more guy? Please, just like this one guy. And I just know, I'm going to tie this into the discussion we had about the receivers. In 2020 or 2021, if a player like 2024 Hunter Renfrow were a free agent, fans would be losing their minds saying the Packers should sign him. And I'm not even saying that's necessarily like a wrong thing to believe in the moment. And in fact, I think that if this offense right now was set up like that offense, you can make the case that that would be the smart thing to do, that it would actually have helped in 2021 if they could have had a player like 2024 Hunter Renfrow. It's not fair to just like transpose that version of Hunter Renfrow, because that version of Hunter Renfrow was actually a very good, very productive player. And then he's fallen off the face of the earth since then. But that guy, no one in 2024 is saying, you know, the Packers should sign Hunter Renfrow. Like, Hunter Renfrow is probably better than the 8th receiver on the Packers. Like, he's probably better than Samori Toure. Congratulations. But that's about it. Now, there are other spots, other players. Like, I think if this gets late in the game, or if Eric Stokes get hurt, like a Stephon Gilmore, if he's available, that's a call you make. I've already made the case for Ryan Tannehill and why I think that that's an important thing for this team moving forward. But to me, that's the last word on the receiver thing. Like, it's 2024 because not only do you have players that you know right now are good. Like, I know right now today, Jayden Reed is a good player. I know right now today, at the very least, from a role player standpoint, I can get quality productivity out of Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Bo Melton. If those guys are healthy, all of them are contributing caliber players. You want to start in 11 personnel, all of those guys would start for a lot of teams in the league. All of them. And I think Malik Heath could start. Like, Malik Heath would have started on last year's Jaguars team. Malik Heath, certainly the Panthers team. There are teams out there. Probably last year's Chicago Bears team, to be honest. Now they've added, receivers Rome Odunze and Keenan Allen, but last year's team was pretty bereft of talent. Now, the rest of the league has decided Hunter Renfrow is washed, but there are certainly NFL teams where he could go and start in 11 personnel tomorrow. It's the same thing with Justin Simmons. Like, Justin Simmons could start for like 25 NFL teams, maybe more, maybe like 30 NFL teams. Because safety play in the NFL right now is it's pretty bad. But the fact that it wouldn't even come close to making sense for the Packers, I think, essentially puts to bed this question. The depth is, yes, you want the star players, but the depth is the thing that year in and year out, even when the Packers had star talent, 19, 20, 21, the thing that they were always worried about, one more run stuffer, Snacks Harrison, one more receiver, is Will Fuller available? It was always just one more little piece here, little piece there. Right now, what do you want? What more do you want? They have a plan everywhere. Now, that plan might not be good, but they not only do they have a plan, they have a plan and pedigree. Jordan Love is good, first round pick. Josh Jacobs is good, plus the plan, A.J. Dillon, Marshawn Lloyd. The tight ends, that's a good group. The tackles, that's a good group. The guards, they've got a plan. Pedigree, right guard, Sean Ryan, third round pick. Pedigree, Jordan Morgan at left guard, center Elton Jenkins, if that's how that plays out. But they have a plan for dealing with some of the uncertainty there, and a pedigreed plan with premium assets being used. On defense, Rashawn Gary, good player. Preston Smith, good player. Backups, good players. Interior defensive linemen, Slayton, Clark, Brooks, Wyatt, Wooden, good players. Cornerback, Jay Alexander, all-pro player. And your plan, your first-round pick in Eric Stokes, your developmental corner last year, and a guy that showed a lot of flashes. And then in the slot, you've got Keyshawn Nixon, and it looks like Kalen King is going to be given a shot, who might have been a pedigreed player a year ago if he'd come up. But you have a plan with good players. At safety, you sign Xavier McKinney, good player. And then you use a bunch of draft picks. Javon Bullard, Evan Williams, Keaton Oladapo. You bring back Anthony Johnson Jr. They have a plan with pedigree there. Same thing at linebacker. Quay Walker, first round pick. We'll see. Isaiah McDuffie, scheme familiarity, coach familiarity. Edrin Cooper, Tyron Hopper, pedigree. That's the plan. The pedigree. Real talent everywhere. And depth basically everywhere. I would say with the exception of outside corner, they have depth everywhere. It is a pretty cool position for the Packers to be in. And we'll see if it actually translates to winning this time. We'll see. Back next week. If Jordan Love does sign a contract tomorrow, today, Sunday, whatever, we will try and go live such that I'm able to do that. We will go live at some point to talk about it, but it might not be like as the contract gets announced, I can go immediately live, but I'll let you know. Follow on Instagram because I'm going to do a little quick live and say, hey, we're going to be live over on our YouTube page because we're going to be live over on our YouTube page. So subscribe to the Instagram, subscribe on the YouTube page, subscribe on the TikToks, on the Twitters, subscribe the podcasts, wherever you find podcasts, so you can stay locked on Packers.